What's up, Guardians? Haterade here, and today we take a look at another Stasis Titan build that turns you into a walking juggernaut of ice and gunfire. We'll take a look at an exotic that pairs insanely well for the Behemoth subclass and showcases its strengths when paired with some of the most powerful mods currently in the game, in addition to some weapon combos that push this build to the next level. Fighting for top dog in this new age in Destiny, centered around the revamping of light subclasses, the Behemoth is no pushover when it comes to both survivability and ad clearing potential. In addition to that, when paired with the right setup, you can become near unkillable in most activities. Let's not waste any time though and jump right into the build. To start, the Behemoth is the Titan's Stasis subclass, boasting its powerful Glacial Quake super that's well known for its ad clearing potential and ability to create an onslaught of stasis crystals. However, the aspects and fragments are what make this powerhouse function. The two aspects we'll be focusing on today are Howl of the Storm and Tectonic Harvest. Each of these aspects boast 2 fragment slots respectively, but their ability to feed into the build are what make them important. With Howl of the Storm, activating your charge melee while sliding gives you the ability to create a wave of stasis in front of you, freezing targets and offering you a myriad of benefits, which we'll get into here shortly. Secondly, with Tectonic Harvest, shattering a stasis crystal like the ones created from Howl of the Storm, your glacial grenades, and even your Glacial Quake super ability will create a stasis shard. Pay special attention to the fragments used in this build, as the synergy they'll have with the exotic armor piece and mods utilized will allow you to take full advantage of its potential. Whisper of Chains will give you a damage reduction when near friendly stasis crystals or frozen targets. After shattering these stasis crystals, the stasis shards created will track to your position thanks to Whisper of Conduction. By picking these stasis shards up, Whisper of Shards will temporarily boost your grenade recharge rate. Lastly, with Whisper of Refraction, defeating any slowed or frozen enemies will give you class ability energy. Looking at the benefits of using these fragments together, you can probably guess the exotic we'll be focusing on in today's build. If you guess ICEFALL Mantle, then you're right on the money. ICEFALL Mantle released with the launch of Beyond Light alongside Behemoth. It initially sparked interest from Guardians of all classes thanks to its intrinsic perk Glacial Guard. These exotic gauntlets replace your barricade ability with a personal overshield that lasts for 20 seconds and can have its timer reset when destroying an enemy, so long as the overshield hasn't been stripped away by incoming damage. When you activate your barricade, you create a burst around yourself that slows combatants. While you have this overshield, you're slowed, in other words, you cannot sprint or jump, and your barricade does not charge. Once Guardians realized that the benefits of the overshield didn't outweigh the negative movement benefits incurred when using this exotic, many cast it aside. It wasn't until its later rework that allowed you to end this overshield early that the exotic started catching people's eyes. On top of that, you can technically pair this exotic with any Titan subclass and still reap the benefits of the area of effect slow effect from activating your class ability. However, with the Behemoth Titan, you'll see the greatest benefit. That still leaves the lingering issue of the negative side effects of both the slower movement speed and inability to jump. The muscle behind this build lies in the mods supporting the ICEFALL Mantle's intrinsic perk and the weapons that play into them. Let's start by covering the mods in today's build. First up, we have the mod Elemental Shards, which allows for stasis shards to count as stasis wells. That means every stasis crystal you shatter will be providing stasis wells for the rest of the build. Well of Restoration procs once these stasis wells are picked up, providing additional energy for your ability that has the lowest energy. Taking full advantage of a plethora of stasis shards turned wells, we'll be slotting Fawns of Might to give a 25% damage buff to any stasis weapon while the buff is active. Since you'll be constantly creating and shattering stasis crystals to make these stasis shards, you'll have this damage buff constantly, giving your stasis weapons that extra bit of damage to defeat whatever's in front of you. Now, remember how both the activation and deactivation of your overshield technically counts as using a class ability? Here's where things go from 6 to midnight. Using the mod Reaping Well Maker allows you to create a void well for defeating an enemy after casting your class ability. So, pop your overshield, defeat an enemy, create and pick up a void elemental well, and play right into the next mod. Now this is where you can go one of 2 ways. If you're wanting to get a little bit of extra damage reduction, you can slot Well of Tenacity in that 5th and final mod slot. For the more aggressive and damage output focused Titan, I recommend the seasonal mod Volatile Flow. Picking up that Void Well will give any Void weapon you have volatile rounds. Pair that with a Void Energy or Heavy weapon and boom, you'll be slaying out anything dumb enough to get caught out in the open. Now this will only be a possible option for the rest of Season 16, and once these seasonal mods are gone, I'd recommend going the safe route with Well of Tenacity. One of the best pieces of armor for mods that play into this dual activation of your class ability is your class item, the Titan Mark. With mods like Distribution and Bomber proccing when you both activate and deactivate your overshield, you can essentially double dip on the benefits received from them. Now we'll look at some fun weapon combos to pair with the benefits of these mods and dish out some serious hurt. These are 2 different loadouts I've used a ton with this build, and each has its own pros and cons. Each of these builds will be utilizing the same general dynamics as far as typing layout goes, keeping in mind the idea behind maximizing the use of Font of Might to keep our damage at its peak. The first focuses on using the new Stasis fusion rifle from the Vow of the Disciple raid, Deliverance. This thing has some absolutely insane perk combos that compare nicely with any Stasis build. Things like Demolitionist plus Surrounded or Compulsive Reloader plus Chill Clip give you a variety of ways to use this fusion rifle to your advantage. In the energy slot, I go with one of two Void Pulse rifles, either the new Raid Exotic Collective Obligation or the fan favorite of old, Graviton Lance. I find that pairing Collective Obligation with the mod Volatile Flow works best, since you can stock volatile rounds with the weapon's intrinsic perk Void Leech. However, Grav Lance hits like a truck and can dish out some serious hurt as well. In the heavy slot, we've got the tried and true Stasis rocket launcher Palmyra B. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know I'm a huge fan of this rocket, especially with the combo of auto-loading holster and explosive light. This second weapon loadout is a little bit more reserved, but can still slay out just as hard. Using any of the new Stasis weapons that fit in the kinetic slot or top weapon slot, like the Forensic Nightmare or Ice Luna, you can take advantage of their ability to use the perk Headstone to create a Stasis crystal when getting a precision kill on an enemy. In the energy slot, the exotic grenade launcher Dead Messenger is a fantastic fit, as its 3 waves of energy can shatter Stasis crystals with ease. You could essentially sub this out for any other waveframe grenade launcher if you wanted. This one just allows you to play into any element thanks to its perk Trinary Vision. Rounding out the heavy weapon slot is the seasonal machine gun Recurrent Impact. The only Stasis machine gun currently in the game, this rapid frame weapon puts rounds down range insanely fast, and when combined with perks like Subsistence and Headstone, you can create non-stop Stasis crystals without the need to even reload the weapon itself. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely super hyped and then let down when ICEFALL Mantle originally came out. But with the rework and some fine-tuning with mods and the release of a plethora of Stasis weapons, this exotic and the build around it has found a permanent fixture in my arsenal of builds. Being able to freeze targets, get in, slay out, pop an overshield, freeze more targets, deactivate said overshield, and rinse and repeat is insanely fun and rewarding. I oftentimes find that the ability to cast that overshield in one of those oh snap moments where I'm about to die, then toss down a glacial grenade for both cover and a damage resistance is huge. Stasis is strong, folks. Don't sleep on the Behemoth and its arsenal of lethality. With that comes the conclusion to today's video. I hope you enjoyed this build breakdown and learned something out of it. Subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, and feel free to check out this build and many more live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/haterade. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. I'll see you all in the next one.